Welcome to the Six Figure Coach podcast. I'm your host, Dallas Travers, and this is the show to listen to if you're a coach and you want the freedom, the confidence, and the impact that comes with a six-figure business. Each week, we'll discuss tangible strategies, simple systems, plus the juicy inner work to help you make more money and help more people. So thank you for being here. Let's dive in. Hi there, it's Dallas Travers. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Six Figure Coach podcast. This is it. It's official. This is episode 1. Inside of this episode, I just want to share a little bit about me, about why I'm doing this show and what my intentions are, and then we're going to go on a journey together over the course of the coming weeks and months and years, really to help you know that you are not alone on your six-figure journey as a coach. So I decided to do this show because I see so often with coaches, it's just so easy to second guess yourself and to not listen to your own intuition and compare yourself to all of the bright, shiny people you see out there and just assume you're not doing things right. You don't know how to be successful, and you're never going to have this lifestyle that you see so many guru kind of coaches talking about. And I just want you to know that that's not life. That's not what it really looks like to run a business. There are ups, there are downs. We all have questions. We're all on our own learning curve. So this show is not about delivering a polished training to you every week. It's not about just showing you what's working and inspiring you through these aspirational stories. Yes, there will certainly be some of that. This show is about pulling back the curtain, focusing on coaching, in order to help you learn, in order to help the members of my six-figure coach club learn, and also in order to help me learn. So this first episode, I was sitting down to script it out, and I realized, wait a second, that is not what this show is about. This show is about being present and in the moment and going live with you. So yes, I've jotted down a couple of notes, but I'm just here to connect with you today and share with you the intention behind this show. So we have a few different types of episodes. The first one, you're going to hear me coaching other coaches, a lot, very meta of me, right? Coaching other coaches and advising them on how to either move through the inner obstacles that keep them inconsistent in their business, or roll out a strategy to take their business to the next level. Occasionally, I will also move into the client chair and invite different guests to come in and coach me on a legitimate obstacle I face, problem I have, or goal that I'm facing. Those episodes are going to be amazing. We will also share behind the scenes. I want to show you what's working in my business. I want to show you where I'm growing in my business. And I definitely want to show you what's not working in my business because, like I said, we're all learning. And that's what this show is about. So welcome. I am really glad that you're here. Why don't I share a little bit of my journey so that you can understand where I'm coming from and really understand that you're in the perfect place. You are not alone. You are right on time all of the time. So I am in business to help people heal themselves, which is why I work with coaches. We feel called to really help people in that way. So I'm very good at demystifying the nebulous, clarifying goals and processes. So boy, taking action feels really easy and clear. And when the action is easy and clear, it actually creates space for you to look inward and do the inner work and healing that allows you to truly be successful. And when you're successful, you have more clients, you're making more money, which means you're helping other people heal. So we've got this ripple effect happening. But that ripple effect can't happen if we stand in our own way. And often I see coaches struggle because they want to overcomplicate things. So the first lesson I want to impart in this show is that 6 figures is so much easier than the 5-figure business you've got right now, or the 4-figure business you've got right now, or the 0-figure business you've got right now. I learned this lesson so clearly. A few years ago, I attended a weekend event hosted by a woman who runs a 7-figure business. This was an event teaching you to sell from the stage. And the content was pretty good, but I'm going to be honest, the event was really clunky. It sort of felt like nobody was in charge. It was like a little bit chaotic. And at the end of the event, because of what she was teaching, which was selling from the stage, right? She reported back to us how much revenue they had generated selling from the stage over the weekend. And it was like $1.5 million or something. And I sat there in amazement. This light bulb came on for me and I realized, holy cow, 7 figures is so much easier than 6. 6 figures is so much easier than 5 because it just opens you up to new opportunity and potential. And it doesn't mean you have to be polished in order to be successful. You just have to be willing to go for it. And that's the biggest takeaway I got from this event. I also learned how to sell from the stage, which was valuable. But this aha was brilliant for me. It was very illuminating. So I want you to take a look at your own business and identify where you're struggling, whether that's client attraction, whether that's staying consistent with your content, whether that's building your list or getting that course out of your head and out in the world. Where are you struggling? Where are you the bottleneck? And where are you believing it's harder than it actually has to be? Because if you let it be easy, it can actually be pretty easy. And that's a lesson I learned over and over and over again. I talk about 6 figures a lot because it's a very clear and inspiring milestone to a lot of coaches. It almost feels like this rite of passage, right? It's thirdly, the most common goal that I hear from the coaches inside my community, the 6 Figure Coach Club. So what I thought would be fun is to share with you now 3 lessons that I've learned on my own 6-figure journey. I've had 2 now successful 6-figure coaching businesses. The first one was mentoring actors, essentially teaching them entrepreneurial skills. And now I've run the 6-Figure Coach Club and mentored other coaches for about 3.5 years. And the lessons are the same. And sometimes I feel like I learn them over and over again. But I wanted to share 3 that came to mind today. The first one is something I say often, which is just to do less more often. Instead of trying a lot of strategies or being on every social media platform, right? Or blogging and self-publishing. And now I need a podcast and I have to go live on Facebook. But what about Instagram and all of the things? Instead of doing all of the things a little bit, go deeper. Be more consistent. This will help you feel more confident and actually have more time. You don't have to do all of the things. You just have to do a couple, right? A couple things really, really well and do them consistently. So I often say to the coaches in my community, make sure you're asking the right question, because the question is not, what else should I do? The question is, where can I go deeper? So when you look at how consistent you are in your business, are you inconsistent with a lot of things? And can you be consistent with just a handful of things? This has made all the difference for me, because I'll tell you, I feel kind of funny saying this, but the quality of the content that I put out is less important than the consistency of the content that I put out. Because what people see is my own striving. What people will see in you is your own consistency. That's another way that you build trust. And your message will get better and better and more refined and more clear and more compelling the more consistent you are with your content and with your marketing plans. Okay, so that's the first big one. Do less more often. Let's tattoo it on our arms, okay? The next one, data over drama. I want to shout out Courtney Foster Donahue. I sat at a table with her at an event, and this is her language, and it just rang so true to me. I share it a lot, but it is very easy to get caught up in our own interpretation of things, our own feelings about things, our own assumptions about things in our business, and ignore the facts. I recently, for example, had a launch that didn't go very well. We will do a special episode about it because I learned a lot and I want to share it with you. But it would be so easy for me to get into my emotions around the launch and why it didn't go well and who dropped the ball and what was this problem and that problem. And none of that stuff actually moves me forward. What moves me forward is looking at the facts looking at the data, because that helps me identify where the problem spots actually are instead of just being caught up in my own drama cycle. So another example, one of our six-figure Coach Club members had a launch, and he was in the middle of the launch, right? So I asked him, how's it going? And his answer was, it's going great. Everybody loves it. It's awesome. And which could have all been true, but he didn't have any numbers to back that up, right? So the end of the launch, if it feels really good, but then your revenue doesn't match how you felt, then you just easily assume you swing too far in the other direction and just easily assume that it was a flop. When in fact, maybe it was just your sales emails, or maybe your webinar pitch was off, or maybe you attracted people who love your free content, but they're not really buyers. There are all of these little elements that can easily be fixed when you focus on the data rather than the drama. I'll give you another example. I had a six-figure Coach Club member. She reached out to me and she said, I've been in the club for 8 months. I have 0 clients and I've seen 0 results, but I've done a lot of the work. And okay, fair enough, right? So I wanted to make sure I could really help her because I hadn't seen her on any of the Q&A calls, and she hadn't volunteered for the hot seat. I hadn't really seen her name in the Facebook group. So what are we really looking at here? Her drama, and I'm using that word, I'm not calling her dramatic, right? But without looking at the numbers, her feeling was, this isn't working for me. I'm trying really hard and it's not working. When we looked inside the course platform, what we saw was she had only completed 12% of all of the training. And the training that she'd completed was in the latter part of the actual course curriculum. So she'd skipped all the beginning foundational stuff. She hadn't volunteered for any calls since she'd been a member, and she had only attended 2. So I was able to then have a constructive conversation with her based on the data rather than emotions, because I could have totally gone there too, right? Like, oh, is she blaming me for not getting results? Like, what if she's not taking action and all of that crap? That doesn't help. So it was so cool because we just looked at the numbers. We were able to have a conversation about it and help her recommit to her process and see really clearly, oh, okay, that's why I'm not seeing any results. Oh, right. It feels like I'm taking a lot of action, but I'm thinking about taking a lot of action. I'm not really following through. So data beats drama every time, whether things are going well, whether you feel frustrated. When you can focus on the facts at hand, that's going to help you make empowered, cleared choices, decide on what to change from an informed place instead of just throwing spaghetti at the wall or guessing at everything. So that's a big mantra inside our six-figure Coach Club. Okay, so the last thing I want to share, this is maybe the most important lesson I've ever learned in my life, right? But also just especially in my business. And that is, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Here's what I mean. Oh my gosh. I'm an Enneagram 3. So, and we're all coaches here, right? So a lot of you know what I'm talking about. But I can often care a lot about what people think of me. And as soon as I go there, I can get very stuck in perfectionism. I can get very hooked into tiny little details. I can fall into compare and despair and slow down my own progress. When in fact, nobody is thinking about me as much as I think they're thinking about me. Isn't that true? Nobody cares. We're all in our own little worlds, doing our very, very best, probably having the same insecurities. And I don't need to focus on or worry about the massive impact this one email will have, or this misalignment of the brand colors, or all of these tiny little details that truly do not matter, but keep me out of progress and in micromanaging. So nobody cares. Just one of our six-figure Coach Club members has a song about it. He's like, nobody cares, nobody cares, nobody cares. So I try to take that on too and just sing it to myself, remind myself that nobody is thinking about me. as much as I am thinking about me. And I think the same is true for you. So let's just cut ourselves some slack and do the best we can as long as we're taking action. So often the only way to find out if a strategy, right, will work is to test it. The only way to determine if your price point is too high or too low is to put your price point out there. So rather than seeking certainty in my business, I am learning and have learned to approach everything with a curious mind. Can I be open to learning every day? Which is scary when you own a business because a lot of times you're learning in public, which feels really vulnerable. But can I be open to learning every day instead of attached to needing to do things right? Okay. I promise to bring my most authentic self to every one of these episodes. We have a few incredible episodes in store for you that we've already recorded, so please be sure to dive in. And if you like the show, please show us your support. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm at Dallas Travers. You can join our free Facebook group at coachesonamission.com. And of course, please rate, review the show, and share it with the coaches in your life who you adore. Thank you again for tuning in. Welcome to the Six Figure Coach Podcast. I will see you next week. Thanks again for tuning in to the Six Figure Coach Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate and review the show. That's the best way you can show your support. I'd also love to connect on Instagram, so go ahead and take a screenshot of this episode or maybe a photo of yourself listening along to the podcast. Post it to your Instagram stories. Be sure to mention me. I'm at Dallas Travers, and I'll send some Instagram love right back at you. We'll be back next week with another great episode. Until then, keep going on your six-figure journey.